Hey, I'm Eric, and I'm listening to 100 albums in 100 days. For all the details on what I'm doing and why, check out the video pinned in my profile. Today I listened to the 1976 album Songs in the Key of Life from Mr. Stevie Wonder. So here's the deal with this with this album. I've never heard it, but after listening to it, I've heard a lot of songs. I just didn't know what the title of the songs were, but I knew they were Stevie Wonder. So here's the deal. Somebody gave me so I have a pretty decent vinyl collection. It's not, I wouldn't say extensive, but it's a pretty decent collection. I have a little bit of everything. So somebody gave me a copy of this. This is a double album, as you can see. Somebody gave me a copy of this album, and I still haven't listened to it. Here's the worst part. Somebody else gave me a copy of this album, and I haven't listened to it. I have two copies of this album, and I don't have an excuse. I don't have an excuse. I really don't. I don't know why I've never listened to it. I know Stevie Wonder from the 80s. The couple of songs he had in the 80s that were huge. I Just Called to Say I Love You, the one in red. And I know him from The Cosby Show. And that's about, and I've heard other stuff. I've just never really sat down and gone through any of his catalog at all. I don't have a reason for that at all other than just ignorance. So there you go. But with that said, I hesitate to use words to describe this album because they won't do it justice. This is a masterpiece of an album from start to finish. There wasn't a single song I skipped through, and there wasn't a single song that I was like, meh. I mean, every single song on this album is a masterpiece. And like I said, it's a double album, and there's just, it's, again, words are not just not adequate to describe how good this album is. And I was reading about it earlier today. There's like 130 people that worked on this album. It's just ridiculous how many people and how many big name musicians worked on this album with him. Also, I heard a lot of parts of this album that got lifted for samples and for newer songs. Wild Wild West by Will Smith comes from this. Gangster's Paradise comes from this directly. I mean, it's just an amazing album. Two albums. It's two albums. It's just amazing. Some of my favorites, Sir Duke, which I've heard, and we've all heard. We just may not know the name of the song. I just love the beboppiness of that and the feel of it. It's just a happy little song, and I love it. I also love Have a Talk with God. It's just a great song. The rhythm and the feel of it, and just all of it is great. Contusion is I think it's the only instrumental on the album, but it's like I likened it to I don't know. It just kept going and going and going, and you thought it was about done, and it wasn't. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It just keeps going, and it's just frightfully good and just a great little tune. I meant to look to see who all was playing on it besides Stevie, and I forgot. I say Stevie like he and I are best friends. Black Man is just such a good song. I mean, the music's good, but the lyrics are just freaking amazing. And that, again, those kind of words just don't do any justice at all. I think my favorite song on the entire album besides Sir Duke. And I probably like this one more than Sir Duke. And this wasn't on the original album. This was on an EP that was added after the fact, I think is what I read. It's a song called Saturn. And I can't even describe the song to you. You just have to go out and find it and listen to it. Stevie Wonder he wrote all these except for about 3, and even those 3 he co-wrote with somebody. And the one thing I take away from this album is nobody makes albums like this anymore. They just don't. Nobody. I mean, and that's a shame, and that's a travesty that nobody makes albums like this anymore, and they haven't for a while. And it's it's just a shame, because still the level of musicianship and talent that is present on these 2 black discs is phenomenal. And you would be doing yourself a large favor if you go out and listen to this album multiple times. I listened to it twice today, and I only listened to it twice because it's almost 2 hours long when you get through with all of it. But I do this thing called Sunday Spins and Saturday Spins, where we just play records on Sunday mornings or Saturday mornings, just instead of turning on the television or doing anything, we just play records. And this was going to go into heavy rotation because it's just that good, and it's just it just needs to be played. It's the kind of I just not thought of that, and that is a great way to put it. The album just needs to be played. It requires playing. It's good. Out of the 100 albums that I will listen to this entire project, this may be, and we're just now a little over halfway through this journey. This may be the best album I ever listened to. That's how good it is. I'm not lying when I say this. It's so good. As I think about it right now, I get choked up because it's so damn good. So do yourself a favor. If you're a Stevie Wonder fan, please don't come for me that I've never listened to this album or anything from Stevie Wonder, because I will now. Better late than never. If you've never listened to this album, do yourself a favor and mark out 2 hours of your life sometime soon and listen to this album, and let me know what you think, because it needs to be played. It needs to be played.